Alright, in this video we're going to look at how to do a linear regression. So the first thing you need to do when doing a linear regression is you need to have two sets of data because it's bivariate data. So to put in your list, you're going to go to Stat, Edit. Okay, and so I already have two lists in to save time. So you'll put in all your data values for list 1 and then list 2, or whichever list you want. Just remember which one is list 1 and which one is list 2. Okay, so then I want to actually run my linear regression. So I'm going to go to Stat, I'm going to go over to Calc, and then for statistics, our linear regression that we do is the 8th one. So Stat Calc, 8, a plus bx. Okay, and then if your calculator pops up with a screen, you just fill in, well, I want it to pull my x list from list 1, my y list from list 2, frequency list, we're going to leave that blank. Okay, if your calculator doesn't have this screen when it pops up, you're just going to put in L1, comma, L2, comma, and then if you want it to graph, so I'm going to put in list 1, list 2, and then I'm skipping frequency list. If I want it to graph my equation for me, I want it to put the equation into my y equals so that when I do my scatter plot, it graphs the line of best fit. Then I would go to vars, and then I'm going to go over to y vars, functions, y1. So whether you have this setup or a different setup with just the parentheses, so if you just have the parentheses, you'll type in L1, comma, L2, comma, then you'll go to vars, y vars, functions, y1. I'll put this in, calculate it, and then it pops up y equals a plus bx. Well, a is 1.87 or whatever your value is because you're going to have a different set. B is negative 0.27. R squared is 0.5127. R is 0.716. Now, if it's not showing R and R squared, then that means you need to turn your diagnostic on. So you would go to second and then catalog, second 0. And then you would search through. You can press the alpha button to go directly to the D's. You would search for diagnostic on. You would click it, and then you would press enter again, and it would say on. Then you could rerun your linear regression, and it would show you your correlation coefficient and your coefficient of determination. Okay, and then A is your y-intercept, B is your slope, so I know this is negative. Alright, now I could have it make a scatter plot. So to make a scatter plot, I'm going to go to second, stat plot. I'm going to make sure that one of them is on. This one's already on, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. And then if you can see here on my other screen where the y equals is, it put in my linear regression equation for me. But I'm going to go to stat plots, on, make sure one of them's on. The type I want is a scatter plot, so the one with a bunch of dots. My x list is list 1. My y list is going to be list 2. And then once I have all my values in and I want to see the graph, I press zoom 9. Okay, you don't press the graph button, you press zoom 9. The graph button will only graph whatever's in your y equals page over here. So there's my scatter plot, and then the line that it drew is my line of best fit that it calculated through my linear regression. Now if I want to get some values so that I can have a scale, an x scale and a y scale when I sketch my graph, I'll press trace, and then I can go over and I can find the different values. See how it gives you an x value and a y value? You're going to use those to make a scale. Now you can pick any 2 points, and that will give you an x and a y. So you want to have 2 scale numbers on your x-axis, 2 scale numbers on your y-axis. Okay. So then you might also want to make a residual plot to see how good this is. So to make a residual plot, you're going to go back to your stat plots. Make sure one's on. After you've ran a linear regression, you have to run the linear regression first. Your calculator will make a new list, residuals. It will be whatever the last linear regression that you've done on your calculator, the residuals will be for that last linear regression that you've done. So you want to make sure it's pretty recent. Oops. So you're going to go to stat plots. You're going to go to 1, turn it on. I'm going to change my Y list to be my residuals. So my X list is still list 1. And then my Y list, to get to my list, it's second stat. See the list up here? So second stat. And then if I go up to the top, it'll bring me to the bottom. Resid, that's my residuals. When I want to see my graph, I press zoom 9. Alright, so your residuals, you're looking for no obvious pattern. You want it to be scattered. Okay, so it looks a little funky. It's not 100% scattered. Okay, so that might tell you that maybe this isn't the best fit. Maybe it's not 100% linear. Maybe there's something else going on. But that's how you would do all the pieces that you need.